up? Yeah. Yeah.
Kane is in the building.
Yeah. Already the show goes on all night till the morning. We dream so long. Anybody ever wonder when they would see the sun? Just remember when you come to the show. What's up? Alright, already the show goes on all night till the morning. We dream so long. Anybody ever wonder when they would see the sun? Just remember when you come to the show goes on.
Have you ever had the feeling that you was being had? Don't that shit that make you mad? They treat you like a slave, put chains all on your soul and put whips up on your back. They be lying through their teeth, hope you slip up off your path. I don't switch up, I just laugh, put my kicks up on their desk, unaffected by...
Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of State of the Jungle with Malik Wright, presented by First Star Logistics. I'm your host, Malik Wright, joined with my co-host, as always. We've got Logan Foreman, we've got Evan McPhillips, and we've got a nice little show planned for you guys. Let me just say, first and foremost, it's good to be back with you all. Last Wednesday, I was really busy. Obviously, you guys know I volunteer at the program, American League Jersey Florida State. Do that every single year, but man, as Wednesday hit, I said, man, something was missing. It felt like it was a void. It felt like something was a little bit off, and I remember what it was. Show. I wasn't arguing back and forth with Evan. I wasn't disagreeing with you guys on various different topics, and more importantly, I probably wasn't getting too amped up when it comes to talking about players or teams not having offensive identities, if you will. But it's good to be back with you guys. Brittany, we appreciate you. She said, welcome back. I've missed you, fellas. We missed y'all too. And we're happy to be back. But do us a favor while you're here. Give this video a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, turn on post notifications so you guys don't miss when we go live or upload content from the First Star Logistics studio or just upload content in general. We're getting close. We're getting close to training camp. We're getting close to being able to talk about some more things as we go through this whole process. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about this week was breakout stars for the Cincinnati Bengals for this upcoming season. We talk a lot about who we expect to do this, who we expect to do that. But I feel like now it's time to really put, I guess, some faces on the sheet, if you will, or some names on the sheet. I'm really curious. Let's name like about maybe five to six guys that we like, that we might think could be potential breakout stars for the Bengals. Logan, I'm going to let you start with this because I'm really curious to hear what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're obviously there's some obvious, directions to point the fingers. Miles Murphy obviously is going to be a lot of people's answer.
Yeah.
And, rightfully so. He's going to have more opportunity. He had a really good kind of freshman year, I believe, at Clemson, maybe sophomore year, but then he kind of like staggered a little bit and didn't really develop. So hopefully this offseason with, the NFL and the coaches and everything, he's kind of had a more of a deeper, a different kind of offseason to truly develop. And I'm kind of interested to see how that helps too. Obviously he had a pretty good rookie year too. Obviously didn't do too much at the beginning, kind of played more and more down the stretch, but I'm expecting him to kind of take another leap. Chase Brown, another popular name, but I really do like the idea of Chase Brown. I don't think his role will end up being as big as a lot of people think, but I think he's going to play an impactful role. I think for a role like him, I'm kind of looking at the Dolphins and how they use Devon A-Chain a little bit. He's not going to get that many touches, but when he touches the ball, you're putting him in a situation to where he can truly make something happen. I think that's the kind of the role he's going to play, because when you have a guy like Zach Moss, he's going to do the dirty work, the short yards, the pass blocking, and Chase Brown's going to be kind of like, okay, let's see what we can make happen here. Let's give him a screen. Let's give him an outside run. Let's give him an end around, whatever it is, whatever fun little kind of gadget play they like to run for him. I think he'll kind of be in that role. Dax Hill obviously is another one. Again, these are the pretty popular names so far. Nothing too much to where Dak's going to play is going to be pretty interesting. Obviously he's been at corner. That leaves DJ Turner. I think whoever earns that job hopefully is the breakout player, because the Bengals need a boundary corner so bad. But the last name I really wanted to bring up and touch on a little bit is, I don't even know if he technically qualifies as a breakout star, because he's been good and he's shown in the past. But I think Logan Wilson's in for a really good year, man. And I think we've talked about how important, communication is and continuity, and just not having too many holes on the defense is super important. And I think last year the linebackers really struggled because they were trying to make up for everybody. It seemed like they were trying to do a little bit more in the pass game. They were trying to play the run a little harder. And when you're trying to overcompensate for one area struggling, you just end up in the wrong spot. You're overthinking. So I'm excited to see Logan Wilson kind of just return to that free playing, just, making plays on the ball, flying around, and just making an impact again. I know he's kind of already had some breakouts, but after that down year last year, I think he's kind of ready to remind people how good he really is.
Evan, what are your thoughts too? And I got to be honest with you, Logan. I think you're kind of being a little biased because his name's Logan. So I think you're kind of just going with, Logan is going to have a breakout season. No, but in all seriousness, I mean, you expect that, right? You expect the communication from the defense to be improved this year. I think some of our names might overlap a little bit, but I will say I might have a name or two that might be a little bit different from the one that Logan named. But Evan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, agree on the Miles Murphy. Obviously, that's kind of the one that's staring you in the face. The first round pedigree, the time to develop, and there's been some good articles and coverage from the media team, kind of talking about with Miles Murphy. Kind of at the halfway point last season where he was like, man, I feel a lot more comfortable. And even going into this offseason, he said, hey, yeah, there's like workout and combine shape, but then there's NFL shape, right? Like you've been in this program, you're comfortable, you're ready, you know what's coming, and you've had time to prepare yourself both mentally, physically, everything to kind of have that second year jump that we would expect from him. So that's an obvious answer, but I'm definitely looking at Andre Yoshivas because a guy who's 6'3", 212 with 4.43 speed, who we expected to be kind of more raw coming out a little bit, but actually looked like he was pretty good in limited action last year. He also showed good chemistry in the red zone. And I think that's where the breakout will be, whether like obviously right now, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase are going to be commanding a lot of the targets, right? And then there's going to be kind of just dispersed point guarding by Joe Burrow to the rest of the players in the offense, right? But I feel like what you see from the flashes of Andre Yoshivas this season will lend itself very well to projecting toward the future, feeling a little bit more comfortable with the possibility that T. Higgins leaves. And what really kind of sets that apart for me is looking at, even though he had 15 catches last year, he did have 4 touchdowns. So he showed great ability in the red zone, good feel off script with Joe Burrow. I think it was the Arizona game where he kind of did that improvised scramble drill with Joe Burrow and found the open spot. And that's just to have that as a late round rookie coming in with Joe Burrow, to not only have that trust, but also have that feel, that chemistry, that understanding of finding the soft spot, feeling the space like Joe Burrow constantly talk about with why he's able to drop balls and buckets and hit throws that some people can't. Some of these athletes just have an innate feeling for space, and he kind of makes me feel like he's one of those players. So I definitely think within a slowly expanding role that Andre Yoshivas can definitely surprise and break out. And then Cam Taylor-Britt, if he can just stay healthy, man, like that's the big thing. Is we've seen a lot of the high end play from him. We love the physical ability. We love the downfield kind of aggressive mentality. We love the way he plays the position. It's really about staying healthy for a full season. And I think if he does, like he's going to make some money when it comes time for contract time. He is a very talented player. I hesitate to say that he could definitely be like one of those, like true number 1 top 10 corners, but we also know that fluctuates so much, like a secondary play, especially the production there, it just changes so much year to year. So he could be that guy maybe 1 or 2 years, but I definitely think he is a very, very talented corner. And I think that he could, if he stays healthy, kind of break into that conversation of like, hey, this is one of the better corners in the NFL, much like when Cheeto was killing it with the Bengals and he was shutting people down. People started going, hang on, Cheeto's doing really well against all these guys right now. I think when you get to that point, week 10, 12, and Cam Taylor-Britt is still healthy, still playing well, you can look back and a lot of the good teams they play in the first half of the season and say, hey, he matched up well against this guy, this guy, this guy. Let's keep looking at him for the rest of the season, and maybe he gets some Pro Bowl, some All-Pro type nods.
Yeah, you both may have brought up some interesting names. I'm going to go back to the old faithful. Oh, you little faithful, I was going to say. You know who that is? Mike Gesicki. Mike Gesicki is a guy that I'm looking out. He's my number 1 breakout candidate this year. I have died on this hill for 2 years now. I said this guy is a game changer. This guy is a game plan wrecker for defensive coordinators. And I'm going to go a step further. I think that Mike Gesicki puts up one of the best tight end seasons we've seen from a Bengals tight end of all time. I really believe that. I think Mike Gesicki with Joe Burrow is going to be magic. Pending health, if he's able to stay healthy, I'm that high on this guy. Like, I feel like that's a signing that continues to go under the radar because the Bengals have done so much stuff this offseason. But
to go a little further, why I'm excited about it is you look at any of the tight ends that Joe Burrow has had throughout his career. I don't think you can confidently say that there's been a better tight end or more talented tight end than Mike Gesicki. And I know a lot of people point to his last year in Miami or his last year in New England. Guys, I hate to make excuses for guys, but when I talk about New England, this is a team that when he got his opportunities, he proved what he was capable of. He proved time and time again what he was capable of. He would have a spectacular catch, and then he wouldn't see the field for the rest of the game. It was very weird to me. I think their offense didn't have an identity. I think their offense didn't know who to necessarily rely on. And then, his last year in Miami, you can look at any of the tight ends numbers on the Miami Dolphins right now. Mike McDaniels does not use the tight end position. He does not. And
especially if you can't block.
And that is not something that Mike Gesicki is known for. And I feel like a lot of Bengals fans too, when I bring up Mike Gesicki, and I'm sorry to be long-winded with this. I feel like when I bring up Mike Gesicki, a lot of Bengals fans say, well, he can't block. Y'all didn't say that about some of the other guys that the Bengals have had in here. Like the Bengals have had willing blockers at tight end, but they don't necessarily have a quote unquote elite.
They do. It's Drew Sample.
Well,
and that's why they have that guy, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think when people were talking about it, you heard a lot of names come up like Hayden Hurst. You heard a lot of names come up like CJ Uzomah. Those aren't guys that I would identify as elite blockers or guys that I think they were willing blockers. I think they're guys that can get in your way, that can try to do the job of a blocking tight end if called upon to do that. But in all honesty, you're not bringing on a Mike Gesicki, a Hayden Hurst, or CJ Uzomah, whoever it is, to be like, to be this complete package at the tight end position. You're bringing them in to hopefully offer something in the receiving game. Mike Gesicki is Cincinnati Bengals because what he's able to do in the receiving game. Mike Gesicki was a second-round pick out of Penn State because of what he's able to do in the receiving game. That's why he was lauded. That's why he was hyped up. That's why Travis Kelce goes on his podcast and he says, hey, Mike Gesicki is one of my favorite tight ends in the entire National Football League. The Bengals offense could be scary with Mike Gesicki at the tight end spot.
But he didn't produce with Mac Jones and Joe Judge and Matt Patricia at offensive coordinator. What do you mean?
You tell me what tight end would do that. You tell me what tight end would do that. And you know what? I'll go a step further. I think if he got the reps more consistently to show what he could do in New England, I think you would have saw him do well. Whenever he was thrusted into the role of being tight end one, whether what's the tight end's name in New England needed a break? What's his name?
Hunter Henry.
Hunter Henry needed a break or something like that. You saw Mike Gesicki. You saw what he was able to do. You saw that he was not coverable. And that's the key factor. You get a 6'6" guy with a catch radius who instantly, in my opinion, has the second best hands on the team behind Jamar Chase. I think you get that guy on this football team, and you see what he's able to do. You see what he's capable of. You see what he's able to do. And a lot of people say, "Oh, well, Malik, he's not a traditional tight end. He's a slot receiver." Well, yeah, I'm excited about that. Because guess what? I'm not bringing him in to be a traditional tight end. I'm not bringing him in to have his hands in the dirt. I'm bringing him in here so he can absolutely terrorize, obliterate defenses, obliterate the middle of the football field, make life easier for Jamar Chase, make life easier for T. Higgins. That's what I'm going to do. You listen, you put your cornerback on Mike Gesicki, you see what happens. You put your linebacker on Mike Gesicki, you see what happens. You put your safety on Mike Gesicki, you see what happens. To me, I feel like right now, you're giving Joe Burrow another weapon, another toy, and people are going to say, oh, well, how many more weapons does Joe Burrow need? Well, it's not about that. Listen, at the end of the day, I think that Mike Gesicki is going to unlock a whole new feature of this Bengals offense. I'm pretty excited to see it. I was long-winded with that. Let me keep it going. Another guy that I'm excited about. I'm excited about Chris Jenkins. I'm not going to say breakout star. I know we're talking about on this segment breakout stars. I really think Chris Jenkins can emerge towards the middle part, towards the end of the football season for the Bengals. Obviously, the rookie wall is going to be one of those things where you go through kind of a learning curve. But I look at him, and every single time I turn on his tape, he pops to me. He's a guy that I look at, and I say, you know what? He was not utilized consistently. He was not given the opportunity that he needed to really showcase his skill set, his talent at Michigan. Right, he was used in spots, in spurts. But Chris Jenkins, to me, I feel like he's a guy that can rush the passer. He can stop the run. We saw him do that time and time again. And while there's no replacing DJ Reader, to me, I feel like this is as good as the Bengals were going to get. Honestly, here, I feel like this is as good as it's going to get. I feel like when you get a guy like Chris Jenkins, and you know what I love about his energy. He's a high effort guy. Yeah. He's a lunch pail and a shovel guy, as Evan would say. He's one of those guys that you just know that if you're on the construction site, he's going to bring his boots and a hard hat. He's going to come ready to work. That's what I see when I see Chris Jenkins. But I also see a guy that he's going to be like the Energizer Bunny for that defense. And when I look at the Bengals defensive line, I said, damn, they need more juice. They need more juice. They need a guy that's going to be a high effort, high energy guy, but a guy that has the upside to rush the passer. I feel like Chris Jenkins has more upside than any guy on the interior defensive line in the Bengals room right now. I think he has more upside than Sheldon Rankins. I think he has more upside than BJ Hill. That does not mean that he's going to outperform these guys year one. But I think when we're talking about his ceiling, I feel like he can really kind of step into that role. And the best part about this is too, I think he's in a situation where he doesn't have to be thrusted into the spot.
Mhm.
I think he's in a situation where he doesn't need to showcase what he doesn't need to showcase game one, what he's able to do. But I do think that as time goes on, Chris Jenkins is going to be one of those guys that's going to be hard to keep off the football field. He's one of those guys going to be super hard to keep off the football field. And I'm really, really excited about him. I'm excited about what his potential is in this Bengals defensive line. And I know Lou is really excited to get his hands on him. If I want to keep it going, I think Jordan Battle.
I was waiting for that one.
I think Jordan Battle.
Waiting for that one.
Battle tested makes what? War ready. And I think that guy's going to be war ready. I think Jordan Battle is going to be a guy, although you bring back Von Bell, who me and Evan, we kind of talked about this. Me and Logan talked about this. I don't think that guy is going to be sitting riding on the bench for anybody. I think that guy is going to be one of those communicative guys that Lou's going to want to be on the football field, right? But I think that Jordan Battle is going to be one of those guys where I don't care if he's cutting into Von snaps. I don't care if he's cutting into what's his name? Gino Stone snaps.
It's got to be on the field.
That guy's going to be on the football field. He's a baller. He's a playmaker. He's a tone setter. He's a tone shifter. Jordan Battle, and I think you pair him up with veteran safety and Von Bell. You get more communication, the communication aspect down a little bit more on the defense
also
side.
a lot of obvious passing downs where you got nickel
Yeah.
situations.
Yeah.
Take Jermaine Pratt off the field, leave Logan Wilson out there, and put Jordan Battle, Von Bell, and Gino Stone out there to really maximize your coverage.
Because I'll be honest with you, I know that was Jermaine Pratt's big thing. Hey, I want to be a 3-down linebacker. He got that shot this past year, and I don't want to.
The tough part of that, right, is we come back to the contract year thing. It's not just Jermaine Pratt. It's Michael Johnson. It's all these different guys who it doesn't even have to be a Bengal. There's every year we see that where, hey, you've had 3 to 4 years of mediocre production, and then you just absolutely ball out, which Jermaine Pratt did. Jermaine Pratt had an amazing season in his contract year, and especially in coverage, which we talked about earlier, how volatile that is, especially at linebacker.
Right.
And that the pendulum didn't swing his way last season. And on top of all the issues they had with secondary and defensive line communication and just stopping the run and kind of the help up front. But like we've talked about, if you want to get paid like one of the big guys, you got to perform like one of the big guys, regardless of what's going on. Like
100%.
You are that veteran now. So I don't think he needs to be like relegated to the bench, but just on some of those more obvious 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12s, get a little bit more athleticism.
I'm sorry. I'm in the business. If I'm hurting your feelings by saying this, I sincerely apologize for what I'm about to say. I don't give a damn. I don't care. I'm not in the business of trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. And what I mean by that is if you showed what you are capable of as being a very good 1st and 2nd down linebacker on that 3rd down spot, if there's a guy that I think that plays a different position at you that can give us more, I'm going with that guy. You know what I want to see more of this year, guys? I'm sorry if this offends people. I'd like to see Akeem Davis-Gaither get more snaps on the football field, especially in passing downs. We saw that guy at Appalachian State, or we saw what he was able to do when he was getting the reps. And I feel like throughout most of his time here in Cincinnati, he hasn't been given that shot. And I get it. It was a crowded linebacker room. But when Akeem Davis-Gaither was given those chances, he did perform.
Yeah. He
did perform. And I think he's one of those linebackers that could be a Swiss Army knife. I want Akeem Davis-Gaither to have a type of season that's going to make you have to make a decision at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Do we bring this guy back? Do we get younger? Because he is a young player too. He's still young. Do we bring this guy back? Do we get younger at the linebacker position? That's the type of decision that I want Akeem Davis-Gaither to make me think of, because he was actually my next thing.
Yeah, I was just saying, I'm surprised he re-signed here in the offseason. I think, from the time we drafted him, everybody was kind of pretty excited about him. Obviously, we drafted Logan Wilson at the same time, Pratt the year before, so it was always kind of the competition. But, I mean, he was a very fun prospect. And, I don't want to say he hasn't lived up to it, because he's been pretty good when he's on the field. He just hasn't been on the field all that much. So, that's why I was so surprised to see him come back. It's a great depth piece to have. But outside of that,
thought he might want more opportunity.
Yeah, and he could have got it plenty of other places.
Right.
It even goes back to kind of the stuff we talked about with Charlie Jones. It would have been nice to see Davis-Gaither down the stretch last year play a little bit more. There was plenty of opportunities when, things were kind of unfortunately done for the year that he could have got some run. He's some of those guys that I think once he really gets the opportunity, he's going to, I don't want to say he's going to be the guy we all thought he was going to be, because we don't know at this point, but he's a fun player. He did a lot of things well at App State too. It's not like he was just a one-dimensional guy. He's an athlete. He's your modern day linebacker that everybody loves. Like I'm glad he's here.
Linebacker.
I'm glad he's here. I'm surprised he stayed, but I would like to see him on the field as well.
I'm surprised. Yeah, I think maybe with another Bengals coach who's been poaching a lot of Bengals players, maybe in Tennessee with Brian Callahan, he might have had more opportunity
could use some
there, or
linebackers there.
Arizona, who could just use more bodies of competent skill levels on their defense. Yeah, I definitely think the chance was out there for him for more opportunity, but I think that also speaks to
because he only signed a 1-year deal too.
He had some suitors. I know that for a fact. He has some
believe
suitors. But here's the thing, though. Here's the one thing I'll say about that is, I think when you look at a defensive coordinator like Lou Anarumo, who is so adaptable, who is so willing to put you in the best position to succeed, right? He's all about what said position can we put you in that's going to make us get the most out of you, right? Not trying to have you do something that play out of position. And I think sometimes that's a lost art in the National Football League. You get defensive coordinators that kind of have their own prerogative, if you will. And they're like, hey, this is the scheme. You're going to play it, and that's going to be that, right? I think Lou gives guys the chances to earn more reps. He gives guys the chances to show that they can be something. I think that's why Jordan Battle very quickly stepped up to the plate and was able to become a starter, right? Mm-hmm. It was like, that's a guy that you're gonna have a hard time keeping off the football field. And I think that's at every position. I think that's on the defensive line. I think that's at the linebacker spot. I think that's in the secondary. I think you're gonna get your shot in this defense to prove what you're capable of. I really believe that. And so that makes me very, very excited about some of the guys. But I gave those three that we had right there. If I got to go with the fourth one of a breakout star, I think that Orlando Brown puts together a better season than he had last year. I think a lot of people were down on the season that he had, but understanding these guys need to have more reps with one another, right? I think that the offensive line, knock on wood, although there is no wood around me, I'll say knock on the first star wall behind me, this awesome wall behind me. And I'll say, I think that this is the first time where we can look at the Bengals defense and we could say, hey, you know what? I mean, Bengals defense, the Bengals offensive line, to say this could be a very special unit. We say that this could be a very special unit where we're expecting Joe to have the time. We're expecting this offensive line to really, really gel together like one, just one cohesive unit. And that's ideally what you look for. So Orlando Brown is my breakout star this year. I think he returns back to his quote unquote Pro Bowl form that saw him, get those Pro Bowl nods the last couple years before he joined Cincinnati. And I think it's one of those things where, like, I think the offense as a whole is going to really, really benefit from this. I think we could really, really see something special. And last but not least, my fifth breakout star for the Cincinnati Bengals. It's a little bit of a cheat code, and I'm sorry, Marissa. Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow. I think he's a weirdo. Let me just start by saying that. I think Joe Burrow is a weird guy, but I think the guy has an absolute breakout season. I think he has a massive season. I think a lot of people are doubting that he can stay healthy. I think a lot of people are doubting his ability to lead the Bengals back to the promised land. I think that a lot of people are looking at that season where he took the Bengals to the Super Bowl as if it was a flash. What is it called? A flash in the pan?
Flash in the pan.
Flash in the pan. I don't view it that way. I think that the Bengals have been a little bit unlucky with the injury bug. And I think that every year Joe Burrow's been able to stay healthy, meaning complete the entire season, he's had the Bengals in either the AFC Championship or the Super Bowl. And I expect that to continue this year. I think that the Cincinnati Bengals really announced themselves as mainstay. And a shocker, guys, a shocker. Breakout star as well. Maybe it's not breakout star for the Bengals, but breakout. I think that this offense hits the ground running to start the season. Barring any setback, barring any injuries, appendix, calf injuries, or anything like that, I think that this offense hits the ground running this season. I really believe that. I think that Zach Taylor will have these guys ready to go. And I think that, to be honest with you, they're in a situation where they can't afford, right? They can't afford to start off slow. You have the Kansas City Chiefs week 2. And that's such a game that is so important that, it usually takes place towards the end of the season, but you're getting it in week 2. The implications start out hot and heavy.
Yeah. Maybe that's what they needed.
Oh, yeah.
That's just what they needed.
They needed a kick in the ass. Let's call it what it is, right? But I also want to thank these NFL schedule makers because they're starting the season with the New England Patriots. And I don't want to disrespect the New England Patriots, but I just want to say thank you. Because you got a new coach, disrespectfully. No, you got a new coach. You got a new, you got basically a brand new team there. You got a new quarterback in Drake May or Jacoby Brissett, whoever's going to be the starter. But either way, you have a team that's trying to figure themselves out. I really believe in my heart that the Bengals should be able to go out week 1 and make a statement. against the New England Patriots. If we are in a close game with the New England Patriots, I would be very, very unhappy. I'm be honest with you.
Their defense is pretty solid, though.
Sure, but your offense is really.
Oh yeah,
solid.
no, the offense is a little.
No. But the Bengals offense is really.
Oh yeah,
solid.
yeah. No, I'm talking about that.
And
Giving the Patriots credit where credit's due. We're sitting here bashing them.
I want this to be the Mike Gesicki game. You know what I'm saying? I want this to be the Mike
early
Gesicki game. The early
game.
revenge game, man. I'm talking about Mike Gesicki coming out with 2 touchdowns, 2 tutties, 2 tugs. You know, that's what I want. 2 touchdowns, 80 yards. Mike Gesicki announced himself. Everybody that didn't pick him up in fantasy football drafts everywhere will then try to go on the waiver wire claim and bring him in. Like, that's the type of start that I'm looking for. But in all seriousness, I think Joe Burrow has a breakout year for the Bengals. I've kind of talked about that 44 touchdown passes. I keep seeing him at 43, 44 touchdown passes, something like that. And I think he does perform for MVP type season, guys. I don't think that's too much of a hot take. I think the hot take is he going to be able to stay healthy? I think that's going to be the big question mark. Is he going to be able to stay healthy? If he's able to stay healthy, the Bengals are cooking. The question is, are they cooking with grease or are they cooking with water? I guess we'll find that out. But let's keep the conversation going. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Close to 100 people watching right now. Do us a favor, give this video a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, turn on post notifications so you guys don't miss when we go live or upload content from the First Star Logistics Studio. Remember, every single time that we are live, we're also simulcasted on the First Star Media Group YouTube channel. So you guys can watch us on the First Star Media Group YouTube channel or the Sitdown with Malik Wright. Either way, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Give this video a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and turn on post notifications. Let's talk about our top 10 Bengals players for this upcoming season. Evan, I'll let you start this one off, man. I usually go with Logan on these a little bit.
We started at 10. Are we all giving 10?
We're gonna do 10. We're all gonna do 10.
Like starting at number 10 and we go around the room and then we do 9 and go around the room, or like I just give my 10.
I want to hear your 10.
All right.
And Marissa, do us a favor, write this down because Evan's probably gonna lose his train of thought.
No,
he's an old man.
I got it written down. I can send it to her in the show notes or something. But I kind of took the cheap way out there at number 10 because there's so many players you could sub in out here that you can make an argument for. Sheldon Rankins, Gino Stone, whichever one you think is going to have a better season. Any of your favorite players on there, if you want to throw DJ Turner, Breakout, or Dax Hill, whoever shows up and ends up playing really well this season. But for 10, I went Evan McPherson just to make it nice and easy. A big thing for me.
I didn't think about that.
A big thing for me when I was doing this, right, is I was trying to, and we're going to have different views of kind of how we, states of mind of how we kind of narrowed this down a little
100%.
bit. But my thoughts on it was, are you a top 5 player at the position? Okay, you're probably going to be 1, 2, 3. Are you a top 10 player at your position? You're going to be in that area. And Evan McPherson, obviously one of the best kickers in the NFL, ends up down at number 10 on the bottom of this list, obviously because of kicker and just a little bit of value in there that I gotta nerf it a little bit. Otherwise he'd be higher. But like I said, he's Money Mac, baby. You know, he's hit a lot of clutch field goals. He's got legs that can boot it for days like Justin Tucker can, get those booming kicks. I wonder how far he could kick it. We saw him in Jacksonville. He was warming up from like 70, just booting them and hitting them fine, which, you know, you can't quite hit those line drives in the game exactly that way, but he has the leg for it for sure. So I just wanted to give him his due. But number 9, I'll speed this up a little bit. I just waxed poetic a little too long there. Number 9, Alex Kappa. Same thing where guy who's consistently average or above average, stabilizing force on the interior line. Cam Taylor-Britt at 8, assuming healthy. I really think this is going to be a big year for Cam Taylor-Britt, especially if healthy. I think he's ready to kind of announce himself as kind of that alpha corner for the Bengals and kind of be that guy in the room who kind of is devoid of that right now. I think obviously Mike Hilton getting older, but is still a very respected player. But I think this is the year Cam Taylor-Britt jumps forward. Mike Hilton at number 7. Speaking of that, coverage, blitzability, tackling, especially when you've got so many runs and people are using big slot wide receivers now to improve their run blocking as they're doing more 11 personnel and stuff when things spread out. So Mike Hilton, his value, his savvy is really important, his communication ability. Number 6, I got Logan Wilson. Again, we're going back to, hey, if you're above average linebacker play every single year, like you're doing really great. And I think Logan Wilson, his ball production, his being the heart of the defense there, even as a mid-round pick, I think that speaks volumes about who he is as a player on the field, but also mentally. And then number 5, Orlando Brown Jr. Got him at tackle. Got to go ahead and give him respect. Hey, if you're you may not be a top 5 tackle, but if you're a top 10 tackle, that's damn hard to find, and that's damn hard to keep around. And like you said, I think he's in for a better year. There's definitely ways that you can do things to help your players accentuate their strengths and minimize their deficiencies, right? And I think the Bengals, as they kind of develop this relationship another year in the system, I think he's going to be more comfortable. I think Joe Burrow playing is going to help. And I also think that they're going to have a little bit better understanding maybe of how to protect him and help him shine and use his strengths. Number 4, T. Higgins. Hey, if you're healthy, you're playing, you're out there with Joe Burrow, like, again, goes back to, hey, you've been a top 10 guy. Like, he may not be a top 5 receiver, but 10, 8, 9, 12, wherever you want to put him there in that hierarchy when he's really on and everybody's healthy, I think he's there. Trey Hendrickson at 3, elite pass rusher. Guy's got it all.
Yeah.
It's I saw the other day he was one of the few edge rushers who is top in power rush move success and speed rush move success, full repertoire, even going close to 30, like he's still kicking ass. And then Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, number 2, number 1. That's pretty easy. No much more to say about that. So I've rambled long enough. You guys go ahead and do your thing.
Am I up?
You're up.
Sweet. Number 10, I kicked it off with Mike Hilton. I have him just a little lower than Evan just because we got a crowded secondary room. You know, I think there might be, they might split some of his responsibilities up a little bit between Dax or, whoever they decide to work in the slot more. But he's always going to make an impact. That's the kind of guy he is. I just think maybe we might see a tad bit less of him this year, but maybe not. He's still a really good player, plenty deserving to be on the list. So I wanted to make sure I got him in there at 10. The 9, Logan Wilson. I kind of talked about him a little bit earlier. Just, we want to see him get back to form. We know he's capable of it. Let's just go out and put a good year together. And then at 8, I had Alex Kappa, just super solid, super reliable offensive lineman. There ain't nothing else really to say. That's what he's been. He's been solid. He's been reliable. He's been consistent ever since he really got in the National Football League. He's been that same way forever. 7, Cam Taylor-Britt. I wanted to try to maybe put him a little higher just because we kind of need him to be really good. And I think he is really good. He does a lot of things really well. He kind of handles all the styles of receivers pretty well as well, which is pretty important as a corner. He can kind of handle some of those bigger guys because he is so strong, but he can still handle some of the the twitchier route running kind of guys because he is also so athletic and so fast. And then at 6 for me, I got Trent Brown. I just think that the upgrade that he's going to provide at that position is just
he was one I struggled to place. He was right there with
Yeah.
Gino Stone and Sheldon Rankins, where I'm like, I know what your reputation was. What are you this year?
And that's why I'm worried about it a little bit. Obviously, we don't know what he's going to be. He's been very up and down throughout his career with injuries or whatever. But obviously, I'm projecting as everybody's staying healthy. When he's been healthy, he's been good. And just the upgrade he's going to provide at the position, I think is going to seem even more important. Like even if he plays slightly above average, that upgrade is going to feel massive compared to some of the rankings on the other guys on the list.
Sure.
So that's just kind of how I threw him in there. And then right above him, Orlando Brown. Same thing. Having your tackles at 5 and 6 on your 10 best player is pretty damn good. And then 4, 3, 2, 1, the same as Evan. I think there's. You can't really rearrange that list a little bit. Maybe if you want to put Jamar Chase 1, I guess I'm not going to argue with you. But yeah, I think T.
That is an interesting argument, and I thought about it because it's fair to argue the body of work that Jamar has been healthy and more productive consistently year to year than Joe Burrow. Again, not knocking Joe Burrow, not saying that's anything bad with him, but when you're splitting hairs about 2 guys who have both been top 5 players at their positions, I feel like Jamar Chase has been that more consistently, again, through no fault of Joe Burrow's.
But those are the top 4 players.
Right.
Alrighty. Well, we really do overlap a lot with ours, so I'll kind of run through mine. Well, I'll save my synopsis for the end if you want to make it a little easier.
Just crank it out.
10 is Mike Gesicki, 9 is Alex Kappa, 8 Orlando Brown, 7 Cam Taylor-Britt, Evan McPherson is 6, Logan Wilson is 5. T is 4, Trey Hendrickson is 3, Chase is 2, and Burrow is 1. I guess I'll start with the less obvious ones. Again, I'll talk about Mike Gesicki. I think Mike Gesicki is going to put together one of the best, one of his best football seasons, and I think that he's going to have one of the best breakout seasons from a tight end, not only for the Bengals but just across the NFL this year. I think you'll obviously have your mainstays that we're always used to talking about and highlighting at the tight end position, but I think Mike Gesicki is going to remind everybody exactly who he is and why people are as high on him. I kind of talked about Orlando Brown a little bit earlier. I think a lot of people are down on Orlando Brown because of the year he had before, and obviously unfairly you get signed to the kind of contract that he did. People are going to have high expectations. Talk about people are going to be like, hey, we don't even want people to sniff Joe Burrow's blindsided, if
Yeah.
you will. So I think in spots like last year, Pete was sort of unfairly criticized, and but I think it's going to be one of those years where they sort of have a bounce back year, because I think all things considered, he played well. Alex Kappa, a guy again. You don't realize the impact that he makes on your football team until he's not out on the field. And when he's out on the football field, when he's not on,
It's the way offensive linemen
Yeah.
are, right? When they're good at their
Yeah.
job, right? You don't even notice them when they're out there, but then as soon as they're messing up or they're not there anymore,
you tend
and
to have a greater
Miss
respect
them when
for
they're
him.
gone.
Yeah.
You tend to have a great respect for him. Logan Wilson, obviously, he was handling a lot of the communication duties last year to help out, alleviate some of the stress on the secondary, and try to also over communicate at times. So it was a little bit struggles here and there. Evan McPherson, I think he supplants himself as one of the top 4 kickers in the National Football League this year. I really believe that. Everybody else is sort of self-explainable. T. Higgins, if he's healthy, he's going to produce out there, especially with it being such a pivotal year in terms of his contract. Trey Hendrickson is a guy that I expect to, again, prove doubters wrong. I feel like he's one of the best pass rushers in the league who consistently gets thrown under the radar because he doesn't play for a big city. Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, you can kind of slot them in as your 1 or 2. Jamar Chase will continue to terrorize defensive backs. I believe that Joe Burrow, I believe, will put forth an MVP type season. I'll tell you who's a guy that I actually had a little bit of an issue leaving off the list a little bit. This is going to shock you a little bit. I think DJ Turner is going to have a good year this year, guys.
Mhm.
I think DJ Turner is going to have a good year this year. When I say a good year this year, I don't mean just a good year. I mean like a really good year. I think DJ Turner showed a lot of flashes of what he's capable of last year. He's everything that you want in a corner. He's everything
that
you
one play where he was pressing George Pickens and then he got tackled by Dax Hill.
Mhm.
And again, like I'm going to say this very tongue in cheek that Dax Hill's best play last season was tackling DJ Turner so that everybody thought he was bad at corner and he could have a chance just starting out there. I say that fully jokingly, fully kidding, but at the same time, like
Kind of true.
kind of true, just a little bit,
but
like just a little
can I
kernel
go a
right
step
there.
further,
Yeah.
too? I think Dax Hill is going to be one of those guys too that's going to really shock a lot of people too.
Dude, I think he could play the Mike Hilton role so well.
I agree, man.
He could be so good in the slot, and it sucks that the timing is worked out this way, right? Because he's always profiled so well as that hybrid guy, right? Who covers tight ends, can stick his nose in the box, could even rush the passer a little bit.
You know who I see when I watch Dax Hill?
Who's that?
Micah Hyde. Every time I watch him, I see Micah Hyde. I mean, Micah Hyde, you go watch Micah Hyde in his early days in Green Bay, how he was utilized. They didn't know where to put him. They had him playing free safety, corner, outside corner, slot. They had him playing all over the football field. He was just a Swiss Army guy. He was like, hey, here's a guy. We have a need. We'll put you there. And then he signed with Buffalo, obviously, because he got more of a stable role in what he was doing consistently. He got that chance to really prove what he was able to do. And I see the exact same thing when it comes to Dax Hill. I think Dax Hill is going to have a really, really strong year for the Bengals. It's all about is Dax Hill going to be willing to embrace the cornerback role? Right?
Yeah.
Like, is he going to be willing to embrace the cornerback role?
I think he will. He's had an open mind about it. And man, I think Dax Hill has all the ability in the world and has gotten a little bit of he's been put in a tough situation, man, where you're getting moved around, you're playing behind a lot of people. It's been tough. Like, yeah, you would hope he's a little bit farther along in some of the communication aspects and stuff with being in the system for this long, but at the same time, stuff's complicated, man. It's difficult. Like, it is.
I'll say this, and I know I'm not supposed to say this, and Marissa's probably gonna give me an evil eye for saying this. I know I'm not supposed to put high expectations on young players. I know I'm not supposed to, but I'm gonna do that here. There are 3 guys that are young players, whether first year or second year players, that I'm really, really high on, guys. And I know it's probably like Cardinal sin, and I'm not supposed to be, because it's like, hey, they're young, give them a chance to develop. But I've watched enough of these guys, and I've seen enough flashes to feel confident about. Or it's either that, or I just believe in the potential. And I'll tell you what 2 of those 3 guys are. Jermaine Burton is one. I'm really high on Jermaine Burton this season. I think Jermaine Burton is going to be an absolute nightmare. I think he's going to be an absolute demon on the football field.
I think he could be what Jordan Addison was for the Vikings next to Justin Jefferson, giving you that vertical slot element where, hey, you might not have 5 catches a game, but you might have 2 for 45 and a touchdown, 2 for 60 and a touchdown.
He very similar to Jamar Chase. He plays bigger than his size.
Oh, yeah. He's so good at high pointing the ball.
Aggressive. He's the guy that I'm expecting. I don't think that there will be a slow period for him. I think he's going to come in day one and announce himself. I think he's going to be a dog. And I think, you know what I think is going to happen, guys? I'm making this prediction right now. Jermaine Burton is going to have 1 or 2 big plays in the preseason, and the coaches are going to pull him, and you'll never see him for the rest of the preseason. That's my prediction. I think the first play of the preseason, first touchdown scored of the preseason will be a 55-yard touchdown catch by Jermaine Burton. That's my prediction.
That'd be awesome.
That's my prediction.
Under center, play action,
And
deep shot to Jermaine
Jake
Burton,
Browning
get him
hits
off the field.
Jake Browning hits him in stride. He scores. We never see him again until week 1. That's my prediction. I think Jermaine Burton's going to absolutely obliterate some secondary, and it's almost going to be reminiscent of Jamar Chase against the Minnesota Vikings week 1. I think, and it's going to be like, oh, this guy actually can catch. This guy actually can play. But that's my prediction. Jermaine Burton announced himself. The next person is Myles Murphy. I think Myles Murphy is going to be in for a big year. I think Myles Murphy supplants. I know Sam Hubbard had. I know Sam Hubbard was dealing with an ankle injury all throughout last season. But here's the one thing I wonder, guys: do you guys foresee? Because I feel like it's a little bit of a disadvantage to play Sheldon Rankins and BJ Hill on the field together at the same time, because they're both kind of like three techs that rush the passer.
I think you might have to play a little bit of a different front than you're used to if you want to get these people on the field.
What if? Because Sam Hubbard's not playing inside 1. Sam Hubbard also is not riding the bench 2. What if Myles Murphy is slotted next to Sheldon Rankins or BJ Hill? What if it's that?
Yeah.
What if Myles Murphy is playing the inside? Because he showed flashes at that spot last year. He's 6'5", right? 280. Yeah. What if he's rushing the passer from the inside and stopping the run? That's a spot you feel good about. That's a way you get your first round pick last year on the football field, along with Sam Hubbard, who you're paying money to, and Trey Hendrickson stays on the football field, and you're still you intertwine Sheldon Rankins and BJ Hill. Like, to me, that makes so much sense. I just think that Myles Murphy is going to be in a spot where you're going to have a hard time keeping him off the football field. That's just my thoughts. The next guy that I'm expecting to step up big this year, I was toying around in my head with it a lot. I was like, man, I could go with Cordell Wilson. I could do it. I'm not going to do that because I don't know what to expect from Cordell really this year. I think that he's going to continue his upward trajectory, if you will, and I'm hoping that he can kind of stay, consistent in that regards. But the name that I keep coming back to, guys, I keep coming back to Chase Brown.
Yeah.
I keep coming back to Chase Brown. I think Chase Brown is going to have a really, really big year for the Bengals. I feel like Chase Brown's style of running, I feel like his running back style fits the Bengals offense a lot better than, what they may have had in the past. That being said, I do think it's going to be a running back by committee thing, but who's going, even though they always say it's a running back by committee, who gets the more of those responsibilities? And I think it's going to be Chase Brown. I think Zach Moss is still a fine player, and I think he's going to show what he can do. But I really am expecting Chase Brown to take that next step this year.
Get ready for all that to change when Samaje Perine gets cut and the Bengals bring him back.
Right. I'm sure that will happen at some point. People are like, oh, Samaje Perine.
Here he comes. And then it'll be Samaje Perine visits Cincinnati Bengals. Yep. And it'll happen quick.
Yeah. Fast. If I have to go with another name of a guy that I'm expecting, we haven't really talked enough about Gino Stone, I'll be honest.
I know. I was going to bring him up a little bit.
And why is that?
Because
you want to know why? You know what it is for me, though? I'll just say this before we kind of get into dialogue. I don't know what to expect. Because I feel like his numbers were very impressive. I just look at it and I say, you want to see the consistency over years. We didn't see he wasn't thrusted into that role that much. But when you do turn on the film, he tends to be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
Often. I think interceptions are a little bit of luck of the draw sometimes, personally.
Right.
That's a lot about luck. It's about being in the right place at the right time. But again, he was there. He was that. Will he be able to keep that going? Because I can tell you right now, the Bengals believe, hey, we got an ascending player that's on the up and up who was able to nail down the complicated defense of Baltimore. He'll be able to nail down this defense. He'll be able to contribute week 1, and our secondary is going to be back flying. I will never question Lou's ability to sniff out talent on the secondary. He's been a wizard when it comes to that. Nick Scott was a swing and a miss, but I think that I really believe that Gino Stone is on the up and up in his career. And I have to, all the while I want to err on the side of caution, I can't help but feel that they know something we don't, obviously, when it comes to a guy like Gino Stone. There's obviously enough there to be like, you know what, this is a guy that's going to show what he's capable of. But what were you about to say, Evan?
Well, I was just going to say that you're right. And the reason that we can't really know what you're going to get out of him is because he basically didn't play his rookie year in Baltimore, played 219 snaps the following year, played 450 the following year, and then jumped up to 1,000. Now, every single year, he got a little bit better in coverage and just overall. But you also see that he did continue to struggle in run defense. And it wasn't just like, oh, the weird sample size thing with only having 2 and 400 snaps. He ended up missing 21% of his tackle attempts in his last season with Baltimore. So, not exactly what you want from a guy who's going to be playing something you call safety, who's kind of your last line of defense there. But again, it kind of goes back to, are you going to sacrifice like run defense on a defensive end if he's a really, really good pass rusher? And that's what you're hoping, or at least what I'm hoping when we're trying to project what is Gino Stone going to be. I'm hoping we get a good coverage player who's plus in that area, but is probably going to miss some tackles. It's probably going to be there'll be a frustrating play or two here and there. And I'm fully expecting that, because that's been the one thing I do see that's consistent from year to year, was he was 15+% on missed tackles every single year. So, it is tough. It's a projection. We talked about Jermaine Pratt and his success in coverage, his contract year. Again, we come back to another guy who contract year. Now, all of a sudden, he had 7 interceptions when he had he had 1 previously. Now, again, it goes back to, well, he played another 400 more coverage snaps than he did the rest of his career. So it's so tough to tell. But like Malik said, you take a bet on a guy who Lou has tabbed as, hey, he fits well. I like what he can do, and I can help him be the best version of himself.
Yeah, the thing, like, I'm looking at Gino Stone a little bit here, looking at his, tackling grades and everything per game. He has half of his weeks are over, are really well graded. It's just sometimes
couple bad spots.
There's some really bad games where just like, it just looks like maybe it's, he had against Tennessee, tackling Derrick Henry is no easy thing. Detroit, they have a good
luck because he's in the AFC North.
That's true. They have a good run game too. San Francisco struggled, or Miami. These kind of like, it's maybe there's some more correlation just with he's not tackling
specific
running
types.
Or something like that, or even just running backs as well.
Teams that are more talented at getting their running backs into the second level.
But there's a lot to like. There's some questions. It's just, again, we have so many talented players in the secondary. The roles that's going to fill out for them, I don't even think the Bengals know exactly how they're going to play out. They just have so much talent. They're going to see how everybody plays, and just get the best people on the field and put them in the situation to succeed. And we don't know how much we're going to see all these individual people yet, but we're going to see them eventually, and it's just going to be up to them really how much they play.
I agree. You're cooking. What brings us to our next point, our next topic. And I feel like this has been a while since we've had 3 topics to talk about, right? We've kind of had our 2, and then we go to questions. But who has more pressure this season, guys? Is it the offense? Is it the defense? Who has more pressure? It's easy to look at it very, very quickly and say it's the offense, because Joe Burrow, big name wide receiver, right? And T. Higgins, who you signed a franchise tag, and you got Jamar Chase again. But one can make the argument that the defense is under a lot of pressure too, in some aspects. I personally think, man, this is tough. I think that the offense is under more pressure to get it right, but the defense is under a significant amount of pressure as well. And let me tell you why. There were areas last year in which you felt like, hey, if our defense can get us a stop here or two, we have a shot at winning this game. We have a shot at actually winning this game, right? Let's say if the offense were to stall out, whatever the case may be, or maybe the offense was having a good game offensively, but we just couldn't stop anybody defensively. It felt like our defense kind of reverted back to almost defense before the Joe Burrow era. That last year of Andy Dalton and stuff like that. So I think that the defense, I feel like not the defense, but I feel like there are certain position groups on the defense that we're looking at very, very hard. And I think the secondary is one of them. Secondary is one we're probably highlighting the most. I don't know. For me, I'm always highlighting the pass rush. I'm always looking at the pass rush, and I'm always saying, hey, can we get more guys at the quarterback? And if the answer is no, something needs to change. I'm looking squarely at the defensive line. That's just me, guys. I'm looking at Myles Murphy, who you invested a first-round pick in. I'm looking at Trey Hendrickson, again, to continue to be who he is. Although Trey has never shown me that he can't be that guy. He needs more help around him. I'm looking at Sam Hubbard. I'm looking at Joseph Osai. I'm looking at Cam Sample. I'm looking at all these guys that the Bengals have added to the fold or have been in the fold. And I'm like, okay, time's ticking, buddy. Time to step up. What's up? What you going to do? Because that's what the Bengals need right now. We look at the Bengals defensive. If you look at the Bengals defensive line, you go on ESPN depth chart or whatever said website you use to look at the Bengals depth chart. The Bengals are deep. The Bengals are deep on the defensive line, but just because they're deep on the defensive line doesn't feel like it always results into production. It feels like at times. It feels like sometimes it kind of stalls out. I'll give Sam Hubbard a pass. Dealt with the ankle injury last year. Give Joseph Ossai a pass. No, he was coming off an injury. Still a young player, a whole 9 yards, and still is very, very young, even as it currently stands right now. Me personally, I'm looking at the pass rush and I'm saying if the pass rush is anywhere what it was the year the Bengals went to the Super Bowl, and I know that's so cliche to say, right? But I promise y'all, the Bengals didn't when I say that, you might think, oh, well, you probably had a bunch of big names on the defensive line when you actually didn't. You just had a real cohesive unit that really gelled together, that understood. You could tell they were really close. You could tell that they understood what they were trying to get accomplished. Yep. If they can even get a semblance of that, I think the Bengals are actually cooking. And I think we'll actually see life will be easier on the secondary too. But what you can't have is a quarterback having all day to throw in the pocket. You can't have a quarterback who's slow-footed beating your edge rusher to the edge to beat him for a first down for 10 yards. You can't do that. That's not something that's not something that you're looking at. You're like, yeah, we can win off of that. For me, the Bengals need their defensive line to step up. I think if the defensive line steps up, it makes life easier for everybody in the secondary. I believe that.
Yeah, I'll try and make it as short and sweet as possible. Pressure is about perception, right? What are you expected to do? Mm-hmm. And I think it's fair to say that the defense, the production was just so poor in a couple different areas last year that they can just bounce back toward average and make a giant market improvement, right? Yes. I think that by the nature of the volatility of defense, that can happen on top of having more quality players, more seasoned, younger guys that you were kind of relying on, and DJ Turner, Jordan Battle, all of these guys, plus replenishing depth a little bit on the defensive line. I think that they can, even if they don't take a jump into the top 10, top 15, instead of being 28, 29, especially when it comes to explosive plays allowed, I think you're going to see something closer to that, like 12 to 18 range, right? So by that nature, I think I look at the offense with the expectations they have of, hey, again, this is your last year with T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Joe Burrow all together, probably. You added Mike Gesicki. You have this offensive line that's the best offensive line that Joe Burrow's played with. And on top of that, you have the last couple of years, you haven't really recaptured that magic. You've had flashes. It's always been flashes here, there, and you even get them for a game, 2, 3, right? And back when they kind of went on that 10-game win streak, you saw some explosion there. But again, it's you'll come out in the first drive and then you'll score, and then you go 2 quarters, without getting into the red zone. You're kicking field goals and you're going 3 and out back to back, and then you put yourself in tough situations. I think there's a lot of pressure on this offense to reach its potential. Everyone's here, everyone's healthy at present. Reach your potential, do what you can do, especially if you have 2 top 10 receivers, if you have a top 5 quarterback. You got to be more consistent than what you're doing. Again, you don't have to be a top 3 unit in the league, but I think there's a lot more pressure on the offense to be a top 5, top 10 unit than there is for the defense to be a top 15 unit.
Yeah, and that's kind of exactly how I look at it. I agree with a lot with what both of you said. I think the defense will always have the more questions to answer, the more like what ifs, like the more worries are always coming in the defense, but this team is always going to go with the offense. The expectations are always going to be so much higher for the offense. You're always are going to be expecting the Bengals to have a top 7 offense at worst. Anything below that, you're like, man, we're not doing very good. So I think like that's just such a hard thing to maintain and do year in and year out. So that's why I think the pressure will always kind of rely on the offense. But then again, I think the question marks will always lie on the defense because we have so much money invested in the offense and the quarterback and the receivers. So the defense is always going to have more, heads in and out, more new bodies and everything, more questions, but this team is always going to go where the offense takes it.
I agree. Let's jump to some questions, guys, really quickly before we head out of here. And first and foremost, I want to go up to our pinned comment up here. I don't know if it got unpinned. It was from our guy Benjamin Harrison. Marissa, did you unpin this comment?
I got it right here if you want me to read it.
Yeah, if you could.
Benjamin Harrison says, hey, Malik, hopefully you and the First Star team come to New York October 13th when we play the Giants. Big fan of the show and would love to meet any of the team in person.
Yeah, it was unpinned. I blame our producer for that. But I'm kidding. But in all seriousness, You know what? I was thinking already. I was like, me and the boys, we said we want to take this thing big, this upcoming year. We pride ourselves on being a different type of Bengals show. Some people even say we're unhinged at times on this show. Daniel will be joining back the show. I think he's coming back in the next like 3 weeks, two or 3 weeks. We haven't decided. He's got a little birthday bash he's got going on, whatever case may be in California. So he's too cool to hang out with us. But we want to let you guys kind of choose what games you guys want us to go to. Okay. Me and the boys kind of already talked about some games that we're excited about. And we said, hey, maybe we'll attend this game, maybe we'll attend that game. But we'll let you guys pick what games you guys want us to attend and show out to. Although I will say this, I don't know if I'm wanted in Kansas City. After some remarks I made about the Kansas City Chiefs, that dump of a franchise. But I'll let you guys make that pick. What games do you guys want us to attend? What games do you guys want the State of the Jungle crew to attend? We're certainly going to attend some games together. Believe it or not, me, Evan, Logan, and Daniel have all been in the vicinity of a game. I don't know if we've ever all attended a game together. I think the closest we came to was Kansas City, AFC Championship.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. But this year we're going to change that. So I'm sorry. Any extended family or friends that want to hang out with us, we're going to go to some games together. We're going to pick some games, and somebody said the Eagles. Somebody said the Eagles game. They want us to do the Eagles game. I'm down for that. Drop down in the comment section what games you guys want us to go. The real test is going to be getting Evan to go with us, right? And when I first met Evan was going to every single game. The guy was showing up with a 10.
Got a lot going on, man.
10 cases of beer or whatever. What was it? How many cases?
Got a girlfriend. She's got a lot of family stuff going on. We got a puppy dog that we just got.
Understand.
Oh, I know. Well, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get her and her parents down there to a game.
Sure.
We'll be down to the tailgate.
So somebody asked, Ben asked, would we be in New York? I can't speak for the boys, but I can tell you right now, I will be home for that game. I will be back in New Jersey for that game. Bengals taking
Dirty
on Giants.
Jersey.
Dirty Jersey. You know what's funny? Last time we faced the Giants, I think this was Monday Night Football too, right?
I can't recall.
Last time we faced the Giants on Monday Night Football, I had a very I was a kid at the time. I was in college, but I met Pac-Man Jones, who was really mad that after that game. That was the game Odell Beckham did the thriller thing in the back of the end zone. I met my guy Pat Sims, always awesome to me. Who else did we meet? We met AJ Green, Andy Dalton, Darquez Denard. What a name. Darquez Denard, Tyler Eifert. So that game has always been that game has always been a game that has that I've always attended. I know my guy Evan Holt, he'll be out there as well. So yeah, I plan to be at the Bengals versus Giants game. I'm really, really looking forward to that. I'll let you guys pick what other games we might attend. I was planning on doing Dallas versus the Bengals, but blame my sister. She's getting married the day before, so I won't be able to attend that one. And that sucks because I always wanted to go to Jerry's World. I always wanted to go to Dallas. Guess we'll check it off the bucket list another time. But let us know what games you guys want us to go to. We'll make it our best. We'll try our best to get to those games. But is there any games that you guys want to go to in particular? Like, yeah, we're going to go.
I got to pull the schedule.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of away games.
Yeah, man. I wanted to
Dallas is fun though.
Yeah.
Just being in that stadium is just cool. It's just one of those things that I feel like you gotta do at least.
Carolina
once.
would be cool. I got family down there. Carolina would be nice. Yeah, take a little trip down.
Was that North Carolina?
Yeah,
I'll be there this weekend.
Check out the stadium for us.
I'll be in North Carolina this weekend. I'm looking forward to kind of going out there and seeing what's what. We'll see what type of games. Gary Jellison says, obviously, the
Nashville's always
game.
a good time too. You got the Brian Callahan connection there. It's only about 4 hours south of here. That's
my guy Garrett at First Star's been trying to get me to go to Nashville for like the last couple of times, and he's always gone without me. He was like, "Yo, bro, there's like a Drake concert. I know you're a Drake fan. We can go." Yes. Then Drake's concert got canceled and all that kind of stuff like that.
Yeah, my buddy was supposed to go to that.
Yeah,
he was going. It was Drake and J. Cole, right?
Yeah,
he was so mad.
I'll get together with Kev and we'll talk about some games that probably make sense, some games that might be cool that you guys could kind of meet us. I would love to set up like sort of like a meet and greet and meet some of y'all, man. We've been doing this show now for 3 years? This is our second. This will be our first, our second full year doing it. But we'll definitely try to plan something and do something. We want to definitely meet y'all. We appreciate y'all too. Maybe we'll do some merch too. Who knows, guys? Right? Cool. Maybe we gotta do some merch, some State of the Jungle merch. We haven't come out with any merch yet, so we'll see what we got to do. What we come up with. Let's keep some other questions going. I know Marissa sent me some here, so let me get to them really quickly. Gary Jellison says, can Von Bell be a mentor for Battle to help teach him reading offenses and be the communicator on the defense? I certainly think you can help. You can learn a lot. I think Jordan Battle could learn a lot from Von Bell. I think that they're very similar. Although I think that Jordan Battle is a little more flexible. I think he has the.
When you have the Nick Saban stamp of endorsement, when you play in that secondary, you get it. Like, you get football, right? I know D. Milliner kind of soured everybody on Alabama DBs for a little bit there, but if you look at the history of Alabama DBs since then,
Milliner,
like
really
I know, I'll pull one out there. Yeah, you like that? You like that? Yeah, I got names. I got names.
Jets fans are hate you right now.
I know, but hey, that's all right. They got a lot of other things they can hate on their own team on right now. But anyways, that's beside the point.
They're Hall of Fame quarterback who's rather be somewhere else besides with the team right now.
Who?
Hassan Reddick.
Yeah, Hassan Reddick. Yeah. No, I definitely think that absolutely, yes, he could probably lend some veteran experience, say, hey, here's how I do things, how I see things, just like you would from talking to anybody who has different perspective than you, right? You can see things a little bit differently and go, oh, okay, well, I hadn't thought of it that way. That actually is better. That is a better way of thinking about it, or helps me process things faster. So I think that's where the advantages come from. I think Jordan Battle's a very smart player.
I agree. Let's keep some of the conversations going. Some of the questions going. I'm sorry, not conversations going. One of them was, if you were going, Michael Rolfe, our guy, consistent, Mr. Consistency, Mr. Unlimited. He's always in the comments. Actually, we appreciate you. If you were going to the team to shop to buy a jersey of a Bengals defensive player, whose jersey would you buy? I'll tell you right now. I'm a little bit biased because I had a conversation with this dude, and we're both men of faith, and we just kind of really just hit it off. Trey Hendrickson is one. He's a guy that I would probably purchase his jersey. Trey Hendrickson, and I'm a big Jordan Battle guy. So I would have to reach out to my good old friend at the pro shop, Todd, or I would have to reach out to Marissa, and I would have to say, hey, what jerseys do you have? If you have Marissa, do you even have Jordan Battle over there? Had Hendrickson. That's the key word, had. So there we are. So yeah, those would be my two. What about you guys? Got any two defensive player jerseys you would get?
I think a Miles Murphy 99 is kind of cool. Just
good number. Good number. Yeah,
it's
good 99 block number.
He'll be here for
great
a few
symmetry.
more years,
yeah, for sure.
At least, double M too. He's got a lot of good things going for him.
Right. Yeah, Jordan Battle would obviously be a good one. I like that. Secondary ones are always a good time. We're gonna have to wait to see if Chris Jenkins and
bro, I would love to get a Chris Jenkins jersey.
Chris would be tight.
What number is he? 91? Is he 91?
Man, I don't like the jersey number, but
yeah, is that what?
Man, they should have gave him 98 or like 97, something cool. But
90. That's what he is.
Gary Jellison says, I need Malik's travel budget. I wouldn't say I travel.
That's why you get sponsored by a logistics company. They help you figure all that out.
They give me all the travel I need. I'll never forget.
With them.
I saw I said something about a Chiefs fan. He was like, we see that you're partnered with the logistics company. What we need you to do is we need you to get that logistics company and move your big ass out of the breezeway. That's what they said to me. I said, oh my God. But keeping it going. Gary Jellison says, do you think people are rating Chase Brown and Zach Moss just because are underrating Chase Brown and Zach Moss just because they haven't put up big numbers? I think they fit better within the offense. I think 100%. I think it's one of those things where they want to see you do it before. But I do believe that they fit better in the offense. I think that they're the kind of the quicker kind of back that can really bring the best out of this offense and get the most out of it. Keith Hellebrand says, do we get a comp pick if and when T. Higgins leaves after this year? How does that work? Yes, you would. I think it's based on contract
the size of the contract they sign after. Yeah.
Or playtime, not production, playtime, I think. T. Martin says, right now, Cam Taylor, Britt, or Murphy. I'm not exactly sure what he's asking. But yeah. I think those were all the questions, right? I think those were all. Did you send more? Wait, did we send more? Let me see something. Nope, that was it. That was all the questions. So, I would say this season, a lot to look forward to. We're going to definitely do a little bit more. I think that we're going to do a whole lot more meet and greets and stuff like that. We definitely want to be more involved with the city and do
some live
events, get to meet you guys out there because we greatly appreciate you guys. You guys, it's the summertime and you're spending your Wednesday evening with me, this ugly guy, right? talking Cincinnati Bengals, getting you guys all geared up for the upcoming season. So I want to say first and foremost, we greatly appreciate that you guys choose to spend your Wednesday evenings with us. We appreciate the First Star family. You know, we're just excited about what the future is of this show. Keith Hellebrand says, first team you rebuild with on new NCAA video game. Don't give me Bama. I'll tell you right now who I'd build with.
If you don't go to the team selection spot, go to the 1-star teams and build that motherfucker up.
I'm not doing it. I'm not
you ain't doing it. You ain't doing it.
I'm not doing it.
Give me Jacksonville State. Give me San Diego State. Give me San Jose State. Give me
Daniel,
give me Liberty.
Daniel, I'm looking at you. Arizona State. I'm going to the ASU Sun Devils because they suck as a football program, and I'm trying to rebuild that program. That's what I'm going to try to
rebuild. South Alabama, baby.
I mean, sure, that's an option too.
Bring back the Jaguars.
Listen,
give me the Birmingham Dragons, baby. Bring it back.
What is wrong with you?
Everything.
You know what? No, you know what? For the first time, because they never did it before.
Roddy White,
Coastal Carolina.
Coastal
Carolina. I'm going to take over as the defense or offensive coordinator of Coastal Carolina in the next coming weeks. And I'm just tell you right now, the only time I'm coming out of the house, the only time I'm coming out of the damn bandwagon. The only time I'm coming out of the house.
He only likes Coastal Carolina after the jerseys got cool.
100%. But listen, well, also, Grayson McCall interviewed my company. So, I've kind of got a little bias there. No, but when that game comes out, the only time you will see Malik Wright out of the damn house for State of the Jungle. Other than that, you will not see me. You will not see me. I promise you will not. I might even start a goddamn franchise with these two. Right? Maybe we'll start an online dynasty or something like that and see what happens. But you're not going to see me out of the house. I already know Evan's been talking about this nonstop. I don't see Evan as it is now.
I was going to say I argue with myself just about daily now with how close we are and everything about using all the remaining vacation time I have to, as soon as that drops, just clear my schedule. But I don't feel like that's the mature adult thing to do, at the same time, hey, when this game comes out, we're all kids again, man.
Bro, when this game comes out, don't talk to me about meetings. Don't talk to me about interviews.
You remember when Kobe died? And I'm not trying to break.
Damn, that got dark, bro.
I'm sorry. You remember when Kobe passed away? God rest his soul. Blah blah blah. Girls all over the place, who were just, obviously there's a lot of very sports. Girls who follow sports very closely, right? But many of them were like, my boyfriend is broken right now.
Mm-hmm.
My boyfriend is all emotional and all this stuff. And they were wow, what is this collective cultural significance that all men are unified in? NCAA is going to be that again. I swear. You're going to see TikToks and tweets of girls just being why did my boyfriend just suddenly disappear for a week in the basement to go play with his friends this silly game? Is everyone doing this? What is this? It's that significant of a cultural impact to so many guys who played this game growing up.
I would just say 2024 has delivered us so much this year so far. We got Drake versus Kendrick Lamar. We got Drake versus Kendrick Lamar. That was a battle we've been waiting for years. And this is going to be one of those moments, I feel Not Like Us, the song united everybody. This is going to be one of those moments where I feel everybody is going to revert back to playing video games. And I also feel it's going to force Madden to bring a better football game.
They better.
Simone says when the Bengals lose, I don't have a boyfriend for 48 hours.
It gets longer. The time period gets longer every time she tells that story.
You know what's crazy though? Simone really has not, because known you since she hasn't known you since the college football games have come out. So she doesn't know what type of animal you're going to be when these games come out.
No, I don't.
It's over with. It's
when these look, I've told her I've played this game with high school friends, with college friends, one of my best friends from college, man. We were sitting there playing this, and this game has a lot of emotional significance because one, you invest a lot into it too, and you're playing your when your friends are going through shit, your guys are hey, let's forget about it a little bit. Let's throw on some TV. Let's start up a dynasty from scratch and let's just play for hours, man.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you this, and I hope the camera's on me, Marissa. I am in no way, shape, or form a certified lover boy at all. Let me just say that. I have been dating, here and there, lately and stuff like that, trying to put myself out there. I am in no way, shape, or form certified lover, but I promise you, all of that goes out the window the moment July 16 hits. The moment July 16 hits, don't call me, don't text me, don't show up to my house, leave me alone. because I am going to be grinding on this video game. I promise you. I am going to be trying to become the next great football coach of Alabama. I'm going to be trying to rebuild the Alabama program. You know what I mean? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it the right way. I'm going to do it big. That's what I'm going to do. So again, I'm excited for it. I'm pumped up about it. You know, we're it's gonna be awesome. James, we getting carried away college football. James says, y'all talk about Hard Knocks yet? I'm geeked to watch it. It'll be my first time watching it. I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of annoyed. I'm kind of like, I feel like the Bengals.
I've never been a Hard Knocks guy.
I'm not. That's just not me.
And the reason is because it's put through a filter. Like there's just like when you watch an interview with the team, like it's cool to get some insight on some of these guys, like the approved stuff for sure. But I always just love that raw, unfiltered content. That's always something that I've really enjoyed because I think it shows like all sides of people. And obviously there's things strategically that you can't show. And I understand that, but you know, there's something to the humanizing these players that we idolize, right? And these people that we put up on a pedestal is like, hey, they really are humans just like us who struggle and fail and work their way back from things. And, you know, obviously I can understand why you wouldn't. I don't want my worst moments, you know, televised on national TV. So I completely understand where people might be coming from on that. But for those reasons, like I've just always appreciated more raw, real stuff that's just a little bit uncut, that doesn't pass through the filter.
Yeah, I agree with you. But can we get dubs in the chat? Like, can we get dubs in the chat? Because again, NCAA is literally like that. Not NCAA, EA college football is coming back. It sucks though that they're not. Some of the trophies are going to be out of it now. You know, I don't know if you saw that. They said Heisman is going to be in the game, but like no other trophy is going to be in the game. Like there's no
Biletnikoff,
none of that. They're all opted out of the game, so it's going to be like wide receiver of the year. You know, which I guess is not bad, right?
Let's be honest. If you didn't have a list, you know, Biletnikoff for the wide receiver. Like if I just told you, you know, the Chuck Bednarik Award, like, could you tell me what position that's for? Like, right. Exactly. That's why I'm like, yeah, I hear you if you're like a very big traditionalist, but at the same time, like, well, who's the Lombardi trophy for? What position? Exactly. Right. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, so if they call it defensive lineman of the year.
It's like, bro, come on now. You know, I am excited to see how they're going to incorporate everything, though, man. I'm really excited to see how they're going to incorporate everything. And like me, I'm a complete nerd, man. I like it just to see my coach kind of just rise to the rankings. Like that's the thing that I like a lot. But like W's, man, like we're excited. I'm pumped up. I'm excited to play you because you've been chirping at me a little bit too. So, but this is gonna be crazy. I'm just pumped up. I'm excited. Let's do this. Logan, are you excited? I know you're more of a PC guy, but like, are you excited for it?
Absolutely. Any new sports game is awesome. You know, obviously I'm the youngest one here, but I still enjoyed my college football games as well. You know, it's a little bit different vibes, but
you are the younger. You're the baby. Okay, you are.
Since Daniel's not here.
Daniel will be here.
I'll hold it down for him for a little. Yeah, I'm super excited. It's just
he's over here like I've heard good fond memories of
I've heard of things.
The game just seems like, you know, like we've talked about it a little bit offline, just how much effort they put into it, and they actually made it good. It's not just, you know, some Madden reskin like everybody was going to say, but you can do so many different things on the field. You know, you can hide your coverage.
When they said we're going to delay it for a year, I said good.
Yeah. It's got a lot of potential. Hopefully, you know, playing it lives up to it.
Maybe it makes Madden up their game.
That's what I'm saying. But
it's a good thing.
You know, honestly, so I'll speak to this. We might sound old. Believe it or not, the age ranks here like this. Evan's older than me. I'm second oldest. Then it's Daniel. I mean, then it's Logan. Then it's Daniel.
Like Daniel way down there. Yeah, Daniel's not just young in age. He's young in like pop culture, especially.
Yes.
Like I'll be like, oh yeah, this movie came out 10 years ago, and he'll be like, what is that?
Something like that. He'll say something.
Trippy Red is my
goat. No, but I'll say this. This is like when we were growing up. There were such a plethora of video games to play. And those of you that are in the chat, you remember this. For somewhere along the lines, that completely changed. It completely changed to it changed to soccer, like FIFA, NHL.
FIFA got big, like World Cup, like I think like 2008, 2009, it got real big.
NFL, right? And then NBA. But what people don't fail to remember that those games weren't exclusively owned by one you know, streaming, whatever it was. It was by one company. So you're talking about EA had the rights, then you had 2K had the rights, And then somewhere along the lines, it kind of got more exclusive
God,
with
you remember
things,
2K
right?
hoops.
And then even MLB is back now. They got MLB inside of on Xbox One now. But here's the crazy part. Like, this is now the year in 2024. Somebody said Twisted Metal. Oh my God, I remember Twisted Metal. We got boxing coming back. They're coming out with a boxing video game for the first time since like 2012.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in October.
Oh my God, no way.
Yeah. No,
Wow.
whatever.
That's
Man.
so great.
I'm just being honest. Like, it's good to see video games come back. Like, seriously.
It was awesome going to like Blockbuster or Hollywood Video,
man.
like on the Wii, and you just like, what am I going to just play the hell out of?
Used to
for the
rent
next
the
5
hell out of
days?
Blockbuster video games and never return them. Like,
No, you just return the bad games.
return the
Scratch
bad
this.
games. Right,
Just throw that in there. Yeah.
But there you go. Here you go. But no, it's kind of really, really cool to say. But anyway, wait, somebody said what Bengals players could take you guys on? What do you mean in what? In Madden? All I know is I called Joe Mixon out several times in Madden. He didn't want the smoke. I played his best friend, destroyed his best friend. So I'll leave it at that. I don't think I can be beaten Madden at this point, honestly. I think I'm just a different level. But we're going to leave it at that. We're not going to talk about what happened in Florida. Anyway, we want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode.
Oh, I remember now.
I hate you.
I remember. What's that Future in the Game song? Is that right? Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about, but we want to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of State of the Jungle with Malik Wright, presented by First Star Logistics. Remember, we're live each and every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. Simulcasted on the First Star Media Group YouTube channel and the Sitdown Malik Wright YouTube channel. I also want to make sure that I say this on the show. Want to wish Dave Lapham, obviously part of the First Star Media Group, part of the First Star family, a happy birthday. I know he's on vacation this week. Dave, I hope you're enjoying it, my man. We appreciate you. You've treated me like family from the time that I stepped foot in Cincinnati. Nothing but love, brother. Hope you are having a great time. But we want to thank you guys for tuning into another episode of State of the Jungle. We'll see you guys next time. Same place,